What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Monster Bass channel. My name is Todd Grubb, and if you are not subscribed here to the Monster Bass channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell as well, because we got some cool stuff coming your way. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been over to my channel, please go on over there, hit the subscribe button, watch a few videos, and have some fun. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today's video is a little bit different. Today, we're going to be talking about the differences between tungsten and lead. Now, lead has been used in fishing for ages, and it will probably still be used for fishing for a long time to come. But now that we have tungsten, and now that we have some states going in certain directions when it comes to lead fishing, eventually tungsten is probably going to be the one and only, maybe some other metals as well, but tungsten is on the top of the list for me. Now, tungsten, which is what we have here, a tungsten bullet weight here. It's a 3/8 ounce Monster Bass tungsten bullet weight, mind you. Tungsten is a lot denser. Tungsten is a lot denser than lead. And so because of that, we are able to make things in a lot smaller sizes. So, this little tungsten bullet weight, this 3/8 ounce weight, is a lot smaller, probably like half the size of a 3/8 ounce lead bullet weight. They are big, they are beefy, and it just hinders on your face. It's also softer. So because tungsten is so dense, you're able to feel out the bottom a lot easier. So you can, basically tell whether you're in grass, you're in mud, you're on rock, you're in sand. You can feel that out a lot more with the tungsten weight than you could with a lead weight. The other thing about tungsten is it's a lot louder than lead when it does hit things like rocks down there on the bottom. And also the way I Texas rig, I leave the eye of the hook exposed, so the lead bullet weight can smash into that and make a lot of noise even when, it's not bouncing on rocks and stuff. So that obviously attracts fish through their lateral line. They can sense vibrations, and if it's louder, it's going to travel further in the water and bring those fish to you. The one disadvantage for tungsten over lead, actually there's a couple. One is that it is super expensive. And that's because these companies are basically dictating what we're going to be paying for them. And they're paying a lot less to get them. And here's where Monster Bass stepped in. You can get tungsten from Monster Bass in extremely low price without having to be like part of the pro staff or something like that, like a few other companies do, and give you weights at a reasonable price by like making you work for them, basically. We're giving you this low price on tungsten straight up front. Now, it's still more expensive than lead, but lead also has some insane disadvantages that we haven't even talked about yet. So although lead is bigger, softer, and harder to distinguish the bottom that you're fishing, it also poisons our environment in more ways than one. One more disadvantage of tungsten is it's a lot harder to make tungsten things at home because tungsten has a pretty high melting point versus lead's very low melting point. It's a lot easier to work with lead at home, but working with lead at home is just something that you really need to consider the outcomes of working with lead at home. So here are some of the disadvantages of lead that we have not talked about yet. Lead sinkers, right? We have them at my job. I use them every single day. They're stored in drawers on the boat, and we open and close these drawers all the time. The boat rocks around all the time. These lead sinkers are bouncing against each other all the time, and that is creating lead dust, and that will contaminate the boxes and get on your hands and get into your eyes and get into your bloodstream, and you can actually get lead poisoning yourself. You can contaminate tackle boxes with lead. Lead is no joke, and yet when you use it every day and you don't even think that you're using it every day, you're not even like really thinking about it, it kind of goes into the back of your head, and it's crazy. Like I was asked to put this video together, and I need to get this video up to you guys today. Like, I didn't even think about half of this stuff. So like, if you have a kid around and you have a ton of lead, which I'm not used to having a ton of lead anyways, fishing in New Hampshire actually has pretty strict lead laws, and so I'd never really used a lot of lead since I started fishing, because those laws were already in place. They've been in place since 2016 up in New Hampshire. But if you have a lot of lead in your tackle boxes, it can contaminate the tackle boxes, and it affects children a lot more than it affects adults. Obviously, they're smaller, their systems are smaller, and a smaller amount of lead can affect their tiny little bodies, especially because they are growing. Also because they're freaking kids. They put everything in their mouths. They take this and put that in their mouth. They don't care. So if they find your lead, say a big lead sinker, or a lead bullet weight, that might go right in their mouth. And if they swallow it, that's even worse. But even just putting the lead in their mouth is not good. And then, thinking about it, those lead split shots. I cannot tell you the amount of times I, as a kid and as an adult, have bit those closed. And all the time. It's freaking lead, and I'm putting it in my mouth. I don't know what's wrong with me. I never even really thought about it until now. Great. That's probably why I'm freaking nuts. So, another huge thing with lead is, like I was saying earlier, you can easily work with lead at home. In fact, I have friends that work with lead at home. And, you got to be extremely precautious when working with lead. You need to be wearing masks, ventilators. You need to, the best thing would be to do it outside. But then again, you can contaminate the ground. So if you have a garden and, your garden can start getting lead into it, you can contaminate your water system. So if you have like a well, you can contaminate that water and start literally just poisoning you and your family. You gotta be super careful when you're working with this substance, because it is no joke. The main thing that lead affects in deaths is birds especially loons. And that's why quite a few states, northern states, have put laws out to cut back on the loon deaths. And the laws have actually worked out, and the loons are, in a lot of cases, making a comeback. But these lead doesn't just affect loons, it affects a lot of birds, and it affects the fish. If you are using lead jigs and you break off in a largemouth's mouth, and then a loon eats that largemouth, it's eating the lead, and the lead's going to affect the bird, regardless of there being paint on it or not. It breaks down in their stomachs, and it breaks down and gets into their bloodstream, and it does not take much for a bird to get lead poisoning. And usually they just start going batshit crazy, and humans have to step in and euthanize them, or they just die out there in the wild and nobody even knows. They've found leads up to 4 ounces, 4-ounce jigs in loons, and 2.5-ounce sinkers. Those are like the top. Obviously, that's not the most they find, but you got to think, like, loons will attack fish that are hooked. Loons will attack lures themselves. loons also take pebbles from the bottoms of lakes and ponds and rivers, and they ingest those pebbles as grit to help with digestion. Now, if they think a little bullet weight is a pebble and it's lead and they eat it, that is going to affect them. Again, their bodies break down. They digest the lead and it will go directly into their bloodstream. It's terrible. And it affects a lot of birds that eat fish and actually spend a lot of time around lakes and ponds. Eagles, bald eagles, all the eagles are affected. Any of those birds of prey that feast on fish can be affected by lead. And so some states have stepped up to the plate and put down some lead laws. And you also got to think, just if there's a lot of lead in a small body of water, that's going to contaminate it, because it's going to break down over time. There's a hurricane going on as we speak, so I'm trying to get this video done, edited, and up to Burley before we get hit and lose power. We'll see if that works out. But I also wanted to buy a lead bullet weight to show you how much bigger that lead bullet weight would be to this at the same weight. I was going to go out and do that today, but Hurricane Henry or Harry, whatever, is here at our doorstep and actually changed direction overnight and is about to crush us. We were only supposed to get like 30 mile per hour. We were only supposed to get 30 mile per hour winds, and now we're going to get like 50 to 70 or some craziness like that. So that's fantastic. So I need to get this up. But as I was saying, I'm going to go over the states that have come out and put down some serious lead laws to help save the lives of a lot of creatures, including the humans that use the lead. Because I'll tell you, living in New Hampshire, I rarely used anything lead. Now I use it all the time out in the ocean. And maybe that's next. Who knows? Who knows what is in store for the future. But hopefully we can stop using lead altogether. That'd be fantastic, because it poisons things. It kills things. It's not something that we should be using daily. So here are the states. We got New Hampshire, and their laws are, an ounce or less of lead in jigs, in bullet weights, anything like that. If anything is under an ounce, it cannot be sold or bought or used in New Hampshire. So no stores even sell them. So that makes it a lot easier to stay away from it. In New York, it's the exact same law, but they have it down to a half ounce, which to me, it's like, really? Come on. Just go with the full ounce. In fact, let's just make it 2 ounces. In Mass, it's 1 ounce, but it can be sold. So a lot of the people in Massachusetts don't really understand that lead is illegal in Mass. I, in fact, didn't really know that, but I don't really use it anyways. I would rather use tungsten. It's better. Yeah, it's more expensive, but it's freaking better, so I'm going tungsten all the time. But yes, in Mass, it can be sold. You can buy lead bullet weights at Bass Pro Shops. Stupid, yeah? But I get it. There are surrounding states where you can use lead. Rhode Island, Connecticut, and those places, are close enough to, like, say, the Bass Pro Shops in Foxborough, to where those people will come over the border and go to Bass Pro Shops in Foxborough, and they, for some reason, who knows why, maybe because they're cheap, they want the lead. That's fine. In Michigan, I don't even know why. This was in the research that I found, but they included Michigan because I guess Michigan, although it has no actual law, it is strongly encouraged. Like, they, probably put it in all their, like, fishing magazines when you get your license, and maybe it's, like, posted in different places. But it is strongly encouraged to not use lead. Guys, Just drop a law. I mean, how hard is it to take the lead out? Like, really? In Minnesota, of course, it was almost banned. But then a bunch of people that were probably making money off the lead, put, sad face on and pouted. And now Minnesota just educates the fishermen. Great. And then we have Vermont. It does have the half-ounce rule, but it has some, it's like weird. It's like it has to be like a drop shot weight or something that is a weight attached to your fishing line. So it does not include lead flies, lures, spoons, jigs, etc. It's just like sinkers and stuff like that, split shots and whatnot. Those are all illegal, and it's a half-ounce or less. Great. In Washington has made specific lakes illegal to use lead 1.5 inch or less in length. So anything under 1.5 inches in length cannot be used in a specific body, like in specific bodies of water in Washington. So that's just confusing. Just make it illegal. We don't need it. We honestly don't need it. We should find better, cheaper ways to make weights for fishing, just to get it the hell out of here. Because why are we poisoning our ecosystem with lead when obviously it is a terrible way to die? Lead brought down the Romans, for Christ's sakes. Let's get our shit together, people. So anyways, that is my take on lead versus tungsten. Tungsten is better in every way except for the cost, and lead is absolutely terrible. So let's go with tungsten. At least in my opinion. That's what I'm doing. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Guys, if you learned a little something today, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well in this video, leave some comments, let us know what you think, and please do me a favor, head on over to my channel. It'll also be linked down below, and check me out. Subscribe if you can. I'd be very grateful for it. We will catch you on the next one. Fish on.